you you have the power. That's great. If you can mute your microphone, that would be good. Thank you. So welcome everybody. If you've been to one of these seminar sessions before, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. This, I believe, is the fourth in the series. So we're doing well to build up some momentum, but welcome. It feels like there's a sea change happening, and it's probably just something to do with the weather. In the UK, we had some bitter winds at the weekend, and for us anyway, some pretty cold temperatures. It went from overnight almost from -7 to 10 degrees, and and the buds are just coming out on some of the flowers and the trees. The evenings are getting lighter, and there's a general optimism in the air. So I'm hopeful that optimism isn't just spring coming on, and it actually means that perhaps we're beginning to find some workable and manageable solutions to the crisis we find ourselves in. But I came across an interesting news story related to the pandemic, which was talking about the number of pets that people have been bringing into their homes and lives during lockdown and the pandemic, and an absolute sort of rise in pet acquisition, and it got me thinking about sort of unforeseen consequences, and how you anticipate unforeseen consequences and actually develop enterprise responses or socially responsible responses as a reflection or as a meaningful intervention. And I wondered what the unforeseen consequences of lockdown, pet acquisition are in the following months and years. We all know the phrase, a puppy isn't for Christmas, it's for life. So, obviously a pet isn't just for lockdown, it's for life. And I wonder what sorts of kind of welfare, both positive and negative, will come as a consequence of all of this. But an interesting story nonetheless, just to lighten us into this seminar. As you know, this seminar is all about C.A.K.E. So it's collaboration and knowledge exchange, and I'm very glad that you're here with us today. If you haven't, if you could mute your mics, that would be terrific. Thank you. So the premise of the seminar series is that it's a monthly meetup to promote our understanding of design-led approaches to social innovation and social entrepreneurship. This seminar is related to our cost action, multidisciplinary innovation for social change, and in particular to work group 1. But everybody's welcome, and everybody can speak and have a voice here. So as I said at the start, these sessions are recorded. They're uploaded onto YouTube. So if you've missed one or you want to revisit it, you can search it on YouTube easily, or the links are available on our Cost Actions Facebook page, or you can email me and I'll share it with you happily. I say this every week or every month. It really will take a community effort to do this. I'm constantly looking for speakers or people prepared to come and contribute to the seminar. But I thought I'd take just a few minutes just to outline different ways that you can engage with me, with the work group, with the action more broadly. And some are easy and take very little investment of your time or effort, and some are more involved but perhaps would deliver more value back to you. So you can ask a question, simple as that. anything. Ask a question about design thinking or design-led approaches to social innovation or entrepreneurship. Something you've read about that you want to hear more, something that you're unsure about. It doesn't matter how technical or naive the question is, just ask. You can email me, you can pose it in the chat of this seminar group, or there is a Google Doc that you can, again, just post your question. And I'll do my best to respond to that or any of the questions in the following seminar. So please, got a question? Ask it. I'd love to know what you're interested in hearing about. Share stuff. Share interesting stuff. And again, excellent if it relates to creative approaches to social innovation or social entrepreneurship. It may be that it's a novel and creative approach to your discipline or your area, or that it's an interesting project or news story that you've come across. Just share interesting stuff that relates to social innovation and social entrepreneurship. It'd be fantastic to build a repository of interesting things from across our network. And I'd be delighted to see what things spike your curiosity. Take the stage. Become a speaker at one of the seminars. You don't have to be formally aligned to Work Group 1 to be a speaker here. If you believe that you've got an interesting project or story or reflection that you wish to share, an initiative that you're involved with or that your institution is involved with, a partner that's doing some interesting work out in the field, please come and share it. I'd be delighted to give you some stage space and would really love to hear what you're up to and what you're passionate about. So if you're interested in that, email me. We can set up a conversation and I can help get you prepared for delivering at one of these seminars. Get some individual attention so you can have some one-on-one attention. If you're interested in exploring what a design-led approach might mean in your context, how you might embed or enhance design thinking to the sort of work that you're involved with, I'd be delighted to work with you to run a few structured sessions so that we can think about how best to embed and use design and design thinking within your context. So again, if you're interested in this, email me. We can set up a video call and we can think about exactly what it would involve and what it might deliver for you. I've run this across the UK, Europe, and the States. It's developed new initiatives, new academic programs, modules, courses, projects. It depends upon the context. But if you want some individual attention, interested to know what design thinking might mean in your context, please just get in touch and we'll set something up. Get involved in a live project. So I'm involved in design-led projects for social innovation and social entrepreneurship all the time. But in particular, I'm developing one at the moment that I would love for you to get involved with. And you could be involved as an observer, as a participant in some of the creative sessions. That's entirely up to you. The planning's ongoing at the moment, so you can get in touch and get involved with me from any point from now. The heart of the collaborative creative activity will take place in June and July. So if you're interested in getting involved in some creative sessions, that's when they'll be taking place. What I'm doing is I'm building a constellation of organizations related to youth justice, mental health, prison, police services, local social entrepreneurship, charities that are addressing homelessness or modern day slavery. And we'll be working with that constellation of organizations to look at how we can use design and speculative design practices to stimulate their individual setting and help them better understand and creatively respond to the challenges that they face. So if you're interested in that project, or want to know more, again, just get in touch. Final one. Let's build a bid for impact. This cost action has allowed us to build a really valuable network, and we've got to capitalize on that. And we've got to start, I believe, putting some mechanisms in place that will allow us to continue to work together in a funded way around a research project. And I intend to build a bid that I hope would involve some of you. So that bid aims to contribute to the development of an international centre, a centre that will explore social innovation practices, that it will test and develop social justice-led design innovation, that it will be challenge-focused, impact-driven, practitioner-led projects, exploring digital interventions and data analytics, and ultimately that it will enable a platform for strategic developments and debates about regenerative social systems and policies. I think there is space for the sorts of expertise that this network represents to contribute to a bid like this in a variety of different ways. And perhaps we'll even identify that there are multiple bids that we can progress. So if you're interested in finding out more about this bid and the potential of your contribution, again, I'm looking to build the team, so email me and let's make a start. Okay, so we have a great speaker today, my good friend Arman Arakelyan. He's based at the American University of Armenia in Yerevan, Armenia. And he's going to speak about some of his reflections and the lessons that he's learned while working with aspiring entrepreneurs in Armenia using a design-led approach. So welcome, Arman. Thank you very much for agreeing to be one of our speakers. I'll now hand over the slides to you, and you can share your presentation.
Thank you, Mark. Interestingly, I can only see you in this presentation. Others haven't switched on their videos. So if you can please switch on your videos, it would be nice to have some interaction. My name is Arman Arakelyan. Nick has asked me to present today to you about what we've been doing with him and with Northumbria colleagues during the last 2 years. Actually, it should be a little bit over 2 years, yeah. And I gladly accept it. Can you hear me? Everything cool? Everyone?
Yeah, we can hear you really well, Arman. Coming through nice and clear.
Cool. So it would be nice if we could, we don't have many people, it would be nice if we could start with some introductions, because it's really nice to know who one is talking to. So my name is Arman Arakelyan. I'm from American University of Armenia, currently talking to us from Yerevan, Armenia. Could I ask, I can go with like, I shouldn't pronounce the names, but Nick, could I ask you to give ask people to present themselves, even if without video?
Sure. Yeah, it would be nice if we introduce ourselves. We have time. Peter, do you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Peter Meister-Broekema. I'm currently working in the Netherlands. I'm also from the Netherlands as a researcher for the University of Applied Sciences, Hanze. And my research is focused on basically the connection between co-creation, social innovation, and impact. And I'm looking at a lot of European funded projects to get a clearer picture.
Great. Thank you, Peter. Joe?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm from Belgium. I'm working for the University of Applied Sciences in Ghent. and I'm a team leader for the Bachelor Program of Human Resources Management and Organization Development. And I do quite a lot of design-led approaches in that area. So at the moment, I'm working with my students, and they work with refugees to help them to find a job and everything what has to do with that kind of things. So that's the kind of example I work with. Also, my research is in the same kind. Storypreneurship is one of them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe. That's brilliant. Milan? Sarat?
Hello. Nice to meet you, Arman. I'm from Turkey, from Izmir. Actually, my design-led approach information comes from Nick, and it is really delighted to think and learn design thinking, very important for us, and especially connecting it to social entrepreneurship and social innovation. I think for sustainability, it is very important for us. And I will glad to hear you and your experience in this chat. Nice to meet you.
Great, thank you. Brogan? Okay, Brogan's on mute, it's okay. Pietro?
Yes, hi, my name is Pietro. I'm working at the University of Applied Science of Northwestern Switzerland. And what I'm doing mostly is research on how to foster and support startups and spin-offs in universities, and therefore also design thinking matters for us, of course.
Fantastic. Brogan?
Nice to meet you.
Sorry, you just muted as soon as you said my name there. My name's Brogan Ogilvie. I'm a recent graduate of MDI. I'm trying to apply what I've learned to a couple of family businesses in the UK, and I'm also an aspiring PhD student at Northumbria.
Excellent, thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Jana?
Yeah, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jana. I'm from the Czech Republic, from the University of Pardubice. I'm from the Faculty of Chemical Technology, but we focus on the economy and management. And for a few years, with my colleagues, we focus on triple helix models, mainly in the chemical industry, but also in other areas. A few years ago, we started with sustainability and involvement of this attitude in triple helix models, partnerships, in innovation and project management. So this is the area on which we focus. And if I compare this cost platform, and because we participate on another cost, it's very useful. Such regular meetings where it's possible to see what other members work on, what are their research, and I think it's a good possibility to find partners for other bilateral cooperation. So that's all from me. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you. Anna?
Hello.
Hi.
I work at the University of Life Sciences in Poland, in Poznań. Generally, I deal with public policy, but also new product development. It's a matter of trade-offs between my interest and direction that it's followed by my university, but I'm focused on innovation and how it can drive economy and social development. That's
Great, thank you.
That's my main interest.
That's perfect, Anna, thank you. Milan, are you with us? What about Gosia?
May I say something?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Okay, I'm Tatiana Kisa from University of Tirana. I can open my, but I'm in car. We are driving. I am not in this. I am in this post action, but I'm not in this working group. But several times I entered here just to listen what you are saying, what you are sharing. I am from Albania, University of Tirana, Faculty of Economy, Department of Marketing and Tourism, and I teach sustainable tourism management and entrepreneurial marketing. And it is this topics of this course action is very interesting, and so maybe I can be present, Nick, in 2 working group if it's possible.
Of course, I think so.
Okay, I am very active, in fact, in other working groups. I have participated in the IFCAT conference. I have participated with several articles, and last day I sent for publication together with my sister. My sister is also in this course action. She is head of Department of Finance in Faculty of Economy, University of Tirana. And we sent in USA because I didn't saw any organization within this course action and the possibility to send my articles. And I sent it to USA. It was in the main frame of my topics, entrepreneurial marketing. I teach sometimes I concept a new business model for a higher education institution, like a public higher education institution, like University of Tirana is, which is based on the fact that a simple marketing plan is not enough. There are needed several marketing plans. And
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you for the introduction. I think we really need to go, but maybe we could touch base later on about the work you're doing. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, but I was just excited to share with you.
No, that's lovely. Arman, if you can take us to your presentation, that'd be terrific.
Yes. Okay. So let's start, everyone. It's amazing to me how cost actions bring together such a diverse group of people interested in the same topics. I've participated in another cost action in human interaction while I was a doctoral student at Tallinn University Interaction Design Lab. So welcome everyone, and very nice to meet you. So welcome to my presentation. So let me start. So what I'm going to talk to you about is who we are, and when I say we is our collaboration with Northumbria University, our project with Nick and Mark, Nick's colleague, and Michelle, also one of our colleagues at Northumbria. What we have been doing in the last 2 years, why we're interested in this, and what did we learn, and then some call to work together, and let's see if that would work. So who we are, and please ask questions. Just unmute yourself and ask questions as we go if you need to, because I'd like to keep as interactive as possible. So who we are. So I currently represent the Creative Spark Higher Education Enterprise Program financed by British Council, and that's the project in the framework of which the American University of Armenia and Northumbria University are collaborating. We have put together a project. It's a 5-year program actually. We call it Get Ready to Innovate Armenia. It stems from previous work done by the Northumbria University Design School on Get Ready to Innovate during the last 10 years. So we're building on their expertise on this. So this is very much a knowledge transfer activity from Northumbria University to Armenia, and we're very glad to cooperate with them. And this is so a little bit about the Creative Spark Higher Education Enterprise Program. 5 years. It aims to support the development of enterprise skills among creative industry representatives, and those are they do the project in 7 countries in Central Asia, South Caucasus, and Ukraine through UK support. Okay, so this is American University of Armenia in Yerevan. Nice sunny picture. It's actually almost always sunny in Armenia, Yerevan. Nick has been here, he knows. And I'm from the Arakelyan College of Science and Engineering, and that's the college that's doing the project. And we're collaborating with Northumbria University School of Design with roots of in 1944, Newcastle Government School of Design. I think Northumbria is an acknowledged global leader in design research and education. The representatives, which one of the representatives, like which is Nick, who's maybe sending me a message now saying, "Get over it, go on." So I think Northumbria University School of Design is one of the coolest design centers, and I've been in a few. Very hands-on, very interesting, and like focused on everything design. So Mark Bailey is our program touchpoint from University of Newcastle, and Nick, you know him, he's a senior lecturer and holds other hats in the School of Design too. At the American University of Armenia, our dean is Aram Hajan. Everyone must have had a good dean, and I have definitely one. He has been leading this project, and I am an adjunct lecturer, also a consultant at Pearson Education USA. So I also hold many hats. All right, so it's important to also say in Armenia we have a committed group of full of trained facilitators in strategic design, and they have been trained both by our UK partners and by me personally in strategic design, and they're helping us to implement this project. And importantly, of course, the students are very, when we say who we are, the students are very much part of this. This is just an example of a group of young ladies that focuses on creating virtual museum experiences, museum experiences for virtual reality. Very seems like it is a very opportune moment for them to eat because of how everything turned out. So what we do? So we do. It was interesting while I was building this slide, Nick, because I hope you can still hear me because you froze.
Yeah, no, you're coming through perfect, Arman.
Cool. So because I started to appreciate how many things we actually achieved together during those 2 years. So what we do is incubation activities. We do workshops, public lectures, ideathons and hackathons, policy dialogues, Republic of Armenia government internship, World Usability Days, and multidisciplinary innovation, postgraduate program, certificate program. It is very long to say, but I'll go into details. And I don't want to talk about outcomes today because our outcomes in one way could be what you see on the screen, right? It could be like this, just read like post-it notes and just scrabbled papers. These, like, anyone could just go and misuse the space they have for a mobile app and just write on it. So it's but the actual outcomes are conceptual outcomes. And those conceptual outcomes, I'm going to talk more about process today, of how we achieve those, because I think process matters. So, for example, our incubation activities, they're loosely coupled, so we don't take groups and say, hey, you're our group. No, we say, if you want to participate, here's our schedules and you can participate. So we don't really kind of go after people. If they come, great. If they don't, it's also fine with us. They're always goal-oriented. So every group that comes, they always have a goal. They need to achieve a goal. And most usually they set the goal up for themselves. They're process agnostic. And I think so. Nick and Mark have been really adamant about this. Like, don't do process R. Although process helps us to keep students like on a track, we started to appreciate being process agnostic, because that's not what matters. And when I say process agnostic, I know what you'll know what I mean. The ideal process, all other processes for design thinking, we try to bypass them, right? So, and the reason we do it consciously. The reason we do it is that we want people to start thinking instead of just following like a procession, let's say. And they're very much non-directive, so people are amazed on how much like non-directive the sessions can be, and sometimes disappointed. But we have developed some ways in which we deal with this disappointment, because when you tell me people, I'm doing incubation, you can come, and people are like, okay, I'll come to this blocks of activity, I'll do it, and I know it all. It doesn't work that way in design, right? Like most of us know. So non-directive and iterative and incremental, something that's been boosting and growing around the world, and this is something we have factored into our incubation activities. We start with something, we work on it, we make something else, and we work on iterations and increments. And so, most importantly, our incubation activities are focused on building creative competence, right? So this is about how the process goes. So some ideas, trying them out, success and failures, some learning, hopefully, and then some more ideas, and the process goes on until at some point on the third month, fourth month, we see that the students have developed some confidence in their own creative abilities. And this is what it looks like, right? So you can feel it, right? You look at this picture, you can feel it, and this is our aim. This is what we wanna achieve as we work with the students. So all this, right? You can see that this is this is the state towards the end of the program, and these are the smiling faces. They were not as smiley as they came in and didn't know what's happening, but this is what's happening. People are getting more and more confident in their own creative abilities as we work together with them. Our workshops are inclusive. We take everyone in, also goal-oriented, so multidisciplinary. We try to sometimes we just try to work out a way where we can create the groups which are where we have representatives of each group, like technology, design, marketing, and someone from humanities, and you do those 4 groups of 4, and you work with them, right? Or 40 groups of 4, depending on the size of the workshops. We have done small workshops, small and big, and so they're very interactive, again creativity centric, and very experimental. And when I say experimental, they're like one-off fields. So we designed the whole workshop for months just for this one workshop for these 5 hours, and then it's gone. It's never going to be repeated again. It was just once try, one experiment, and we learn from it. And we share the findings with our colleagues and through research, through publications when we're lucky. And so, and this is what it looks like. I'm sure you have seen the same setup, and you've had the same setup in your sessions. But this is also how we look like. It looks like. So we do it outside. If I was able, I would do it outside of the Yerevan, outside of the city, so that it's people just are taken away from their surroundings, overall, like day-to-day surroundings, and they come out, and that's one of the most important things, that taking people out of their mundane routines actually helps creativity. That's one of the things we learned. We do public lectures. They're also inclusive, focused on theory to practice. So we never do just theory. We always talk about generalizations from our experience. We give examples from our practice. When Nick came, he was talking about also his practice. When I do it, I talk about my consulting, design consulting practice. With Fortune 500 companies like Chevron, like Pearson, and others. It helps because people are hooked when you tell them, this is what I did for this company. They're like, okay, now they can start relating to what we're doing. We try to keep it high profile, interactive, and non-directive again. And the reason we do that is because of, and this is actually from one of our lectures, because the cognitive is really high for the participants, right? So, and design jargon is very complicated. So when you put together people who come to public lectures with design language that's complicated, we get a really high cognitive load. And we try to keep it interactive like this, so that people are like, okay, at least they can ask questions, and be engaged. Okay, we do ideathons and hackathons. The idea is to create a funnel, right? So you take 500, 1,000 students, you do small ideathons around the country in different universities, groups of 40, 50, and then at the end, you gather them all in one hackathon. The idea is to create a funnel where those who would be interested would come to the hackathons, and that one will be a more interesting experience for them because they're engaged. But you wouldn't know that until you did those 20, 30 ideathons before the hackathon, right? So, and they're exploratory, decentralized, I told you, different cities in Armenia, goal-oriented, opportunistic. So we're looking for talent. We're going and looking for talent. This is how we find them. And importantly, they should feel good, because most of the students that come here are just one time, and they just need to feel good about what's happening. So getting from feel good workshop like ideathon to very, in my mind, very serious topics like policy dialogues and Republic of Armenia government internships. We've been doing those. These are high profile. The stakeholders in our policy dialogues are academia, government, enterprise, our parliament. We did one in Ahoyan 2 years ago already, 2019. Well, 2020 is like we didn't have that year, right? So it was like last year. So where we gathered all the stakeholders, and we developed recommendations for enterprise education policy development. Those were given to the government and passed through as government programs currently in effect. And this is a long-term collaboration project that we're doing with the government. For example, just last year we finished the pilot of our multidisciplinary innovation postgraduate certificate program, and this year already, Nick, you might know this, but we'll have like 5 students. From 8 students, 5 are now doing their internship at the Government of Armenia strategy team. That's the team that's doing design thinking for Armenia.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, and very positive feedback. And very soon we will have outcomes like these platforms that we're developing for Pan-Armenian inclusion in government activities. Okay, so World Usability Days. You might have heard about the World Usability Days. If you haven't, they're cool. I have participated back in 2005 or 6 in one of the first one in Boston. I helped organize it. Then I helped organize 2 World Usability Days at University Interaction Design Lab. These were Pan-Baltic World Usability Days. And then when I came back to Armenia, I started doing this in Armenia with American University of Armenia. These are international annual events, poster-driven mega projects. If you want to do one, you need to start a year in advance, designed to spark interest in human-computer interaction, in HCI, in interaction design, and in design in general, right? And generate interest in our work. So this is the one we did with United Nations and United Nations Office in Armenia and the Government of Armenia in 2019. So this is just and Nick is here. You can see yourself, Nick, here. This is the prelude to the World Usability Day. Nick could already participate in the kind of the preparation activities to that, and then he went away and we did the event. In 2019, it was focused on design for the future for all. 17 Sustainable Development Goals. That's what we did. The idea was to promote usability and human-centered design awareness and appreciation in Armenia. It's so the idea and hackathons fed into this. Again, funnel was important because quality is important, and you cannot achieve that in Armenia. It's a small country unless you create a huge funnel and then really take people in who are really interested and engaged on what's happening and knowledgeable on the topics they talk. And of course, it was focused on improving the world. That's what we do together, Nick, right? We improve the world. Okay, so we also have one planned for 2021, and here we can collaborate. The idea generation sessions will be in September, October, hackathon in November, and World Usability Day in November. If you're interested to participate, I would like to hear back from you. Please reach out to Nick or me. We would set you up as guest speakers, and we're really interested to collaborate on these international annual events, and we want to hold one this year. And we need specialists in sociology, design, business development, technology, as workshop facilitators, guest speakers, advisors. So if you're interested, please jot us a line. So why are we doing what we do? So importantly, research, of course, and Nick and Mark have been doing that more than me, to my discontent. But they have no fault in this. I just cannot combine my consulting practice with engaged work of research. But we'll get there at some point, right, Nick? Right? We'll get there at some time.
That's the goal, Arman. I will get you doing a PhD with me soon.
Yes, I'll get there. Yes. So the goal is to understand and to learn and to improve on what you're doing. Of course, it's important for us to also interact and contribute to the betters in the world, to the good in the world, to the goodwill, right? So on a more serious note, and these are the slides we use to communicate of why we're doing things. So So we're very much interested to learn and understand how we can coordinate to apply purposeful creativity in each specific context. So design is about context and specific context, and in each time we're interested how we can do this. And then the second thing is what data tools and resources can help people participate in a practice of deciding what is good to do. So we talked about the good in the world, but how do you get data tools and resources in people's hands, and together with them work on creating these data tools and resources to help decide what's good to do. And usually start with we always start with a compelling need, right? So, and we get individuals, enterprises, governments, everyone into understanding this compelling need, focusing on telling a story from the outside. So what's the situation we're working on? And then what are the challenges faced by the people like me and like each of you, and why is it important? So essentially, we want to create a better world, be it creating enterprises or policies for the poor or for the wealthy for that reason, although we usually don't do policies for the wealthy. The compelling need, they should still, so we are focused every time, what's the situation, why is it difficult to resolve, and why does it matter? So, and all of this, so this is our our interest in being engaged in all these activities that I talked to you before, because these questions actually drive our research and the research outcomes. And of course, again, we're very much focused on a positive future, and for that we focus on what's the proposition, if it's service design, how is the service experienced, what tech infrastructure processes will support whatever that we visualize as the positive future, and what does the concept enable us to do. So to sum this up, design thinking for us, for this team, is definitely not about problem solving. It is about enabling people to first come together, applying purposeful creativity to own the choices and action steps they take, and aimed at a better future for all. And I think that's also what would combine the working group in this cost action that from my, I know that Nikki is leading. So what have we learned? I think we've learned so far, Nick, that we have the same challenges, right? I think it could be that, in the UK and in Armenia, working with the students, there would be some cultural differences, but the challenges are usually the same. So we need an open-minded approach from the start, and we need to actually work with those icebreakers and the rest to get this open-minded approach. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It's very important to take students to closure, because at the end, if the students are like, okay, what did I do? What's that? You get just conceptual outcomes, right? Or take papers, and people don't. If you are building a nest for the birds, people know what they got. In our case, it's usually conceptual outcomes, and we really need closure. So we drive people towards closure as much as we can. Participants do not know what they have learned usually until we give them this feedback mechanism in which they start, oh, let me think, okay, yeah, it was cool. I learned how to visualize stuff. Yeah, I learned how to listen to others' opinions and and just give my feedback, and that helps me learn something new. And so we also learned how to measure. Actually, maybe I learned how to measure this activity from Nick and Mark, because they have some structure on how they're doing it. And although it is very much an effort in process. And so these are the main things I want to focus on, because we do a lot of other things and we learn about other things, but the challenges are, in my mind, are always focused on how do we keep an open mind with approach, how do we drive the students towards a closure, and how do we feedback like this learning back to them, like so that they understand what they have learned and can have more confidence going forward. And these were the challenges we had like 2 years ago, but now I'm more confident that we can be doing this like with the students in any setting. And thank you, Nick and Mark and Michelle, for that. So offer cooperation again. We need guest lecturers. You can, if you decide to engage with us, we would like you to attend one pre-event coordination meeting and then follow up with the students what we learned, with this thing. So thank you very much for this opportunity, everyone. And Nick, thank you very much. This is the email address you can reach me with. It was just amazing to be with this group of people, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person at some time.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Arman. That was wonderful. I'm sure there are some questions. So if anybody on the call has a question, put your hand up, and then I'll invite you to ask it. While I'm waiting for some hands to appear, and we'll go to Peter first when I've asked my question. I was wondering, could you tell us a little bit about the recent pilot that you ran around the certificate program, and I guess just to give an idea of the type of projects that you have engaged the students with and different external stakeholders. So, the government sponsored project that was part of our pilot program.
True. So we started with we started with not what we did later on, as it sometimes happens in real life. So what we started with was we were going to work with one of the coolest startups. It's an Armenian startup. It's called Service Titan. It's hot in the USA, mega company, and we were going to take their design brief. It was all done. And then circumstances necessitated to revise our approach, and what we understood, it was very important to consolidate and start working with the government. Although we had, postponed that at that moment, but then we decided that it's important to start working with the government, and the government came up with an interesting brief. They said, we want to consolidate pan-Armenian help to Armenia and engagement and repatriation. As you might know, due to historic events, or might not know, due to historic events, about only 1/4 of Armenians lives in Armenia. So 3 million people live in Armenia, and 7 million people live abroad, not in Armenia. And so it was important for us. The government's brief was, how can we work on repatriation? And so we took that brief and worked with 8 students from Migration University of Armenia. And we went on to understand what are the needs of Armenians, how they would be interested to come back, and and could we just approach the problem? And the students, Nick, and Nick, you participated, so you know, like the usual, just not understanding what's happening, and then at a point where they do understand what's happening, started to collaborate and contribute. And importantly, we had our contact point at the government, the strategy team, high level, and the advisor to prime minister, and they feedback like what they needed, what the challenges were. So of course, we did the pilot for just 1 month, and it wasn't enough to bring closure, although we did have a presentation that was well researched in the government. But what we did was to suggest the government to take the students as interns, and that is part of the program. After the design briefs, the students are expected to complete internships at the brief originators, let's say, be it government or NGOs or businesses. And so now we have I think five interns working with the strategy team on the policy and platforms for repatriation, community development, and education development in Armenia, drawing again on the more than, not just Armenian potential, but worldwide Armenian potential of the collectively 10 million people that call themselves Armenians.
Arman, so I think that gives a really quite a nice flavour to the type of work that you've been involved with, and I think for a group of students to go from kind of cold, no experience of this way of working and in that particular context, to gaining an internship within a government strategy team to contribute to policy building, and also the platform for enabling repatriation, I think is remarkable. Peter had his hand up and a question, and there are a couple of others in the chat that I'll go to after. Peter?
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Arman, for this beautiful presentation. Well, one of the questions that emerged while watching it, and I think it was also on your final slide, or one of the last slides, how to measure. I mean, I'm not always a big fan of measuring impact, and I don't think it's possible, but that's something else. But I'm just wondering, so what do you present if you have to present this to the university board, to the government? So what do you show? I mean, you said something, and it sounds a little bit qualitative, smiling people, happy people in being part of strategy groups. So, but if you really have to put it in a, 1-minute picture, so what do you present? Do you have any quantitative measurements, or what do you do?
So I have to be frank here. My dean knows a little bit. So my all our high-level stakeholders at the American University of Armenia have no idea what we are doing. Luckily, we got a president from Sweden who was actually leading the Open Innovation Labs in her university, and she was a rector there. Now she understands what we are doing, so we're blessed. But and what we do is we present outcomes. So we worked with the government. Government is happy. There's this new page on the government website, which we created with the design thinking approach. Outcomes. In terms of measuring, I've not been pushed to measure or report much, and I'm blessed there too, because I'm just a kind of a program manager, and it just works. I mean, it's 5-year finance program. I do it on my basically free time from my main job, and it works. And but I know Nick would. I think every one of us have the same challenges. I've heard the same challenges at the Enterprise Education Forums in Oxford 2019. So it's like the same challenge. How do we report back on what we do? Because numbers do not cut it. I was the operations manager at the local incubator at the UA, and there we just couldn't understand how we could start measuring what we're doing. I don't think it's possible in the first place.
I agree, but I was just wondering how you come up with
that. Okay, I'll give you a couple of things. So we did number of entrepreneurs who have pivoted. Okay, some number of startups who have been given more than $10,000 in the first 6 months of operation. Number of number of businesses who started making money in the first year.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And you need to, and stuff like that. And you need to wait. So you work for a year, and then the next year you can report back on the results of what happened previously, because it's like putting there a flower, some type of plant that grows really. So you can't say, I just see that's the soil. I put it there. You have to wait until there's some things coming out, and you're saying this is my outcome.
Yeah,
so you
great.
need to focus on the process anyway.
Yeah.
Process agnostic. Okay, no, thank you. That's just some light. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the discussion around appropriate measures is quite a vital one, and I know it's a discussion that happens in many different quarters. It'd be quite interesting to pool our perspectives on and around that topic. Claudia, did you have a question about traditional public HEIs?
Yes. Yes. I am very about his presentation, but I would like from Arman if he can give some suggestion about those traditional public higher institutions that are on the way forward to be entrepreneurial. So what he suggests that those universities can arrange with students or with other stakeholders as business as well.
Sure. So importantly, I think there are some lessons learned from my experience doing the running an incubator at the American University of Armenia. I think international participation in international forums, programs really helps, because we learned a lot from our sister university. Well, we are part of, like, American University of Armenia is part of California University, and so we learned a lot from the incubator at California University of California in Santa Barbara, where we also visited. We learned a lot from our colleagues in UK, obviously. We learned a lot from our Estonian colleagues who have an incubator there. So just getting them and to come to Armenia and talk of what they're doing and trying to send our startups to their incubators really helped. That's the first one. The second one is to try to create a local ecosystem of enterprise hubs in the country you are in. So try to stick together, go to the other universities, see if they're doing incubation activities, try to do something together, like we do the startup weekends. So in Armenia, we do startup weekends, and here all the universities participate. There's usually one hosting university, but all the universities participate, and students from all the universities come for that weekend. And during that weekend, we are doing incubation, design thinking, enterprise development. That helps a lot. Getting lecturers and professors from abroad to come and teach. Getting lecturers from business, definitely, all the time, to come and lecture, but not only. We were doing lunches with them. So we take all these startuppers with these successful entrepreneurs, we put them in a lunchroom and we leave because we have many other things to do. They have a lunch together. Getting successful or aspiring entrepreneurs from abroad, like US, come and visit Armenia and have a fun time in the evenings with Armenian startuppers and just talk about what they've been doing, or do more focus sessions where the Armenian entrepreneurs present to the American entrepreneurs, and they give feedback, and vice versa. So we've tried everything, and I think this internationalization and just trying to be more engaged, lots of interactive meetings helps.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any more questions that people would like to ask? One more question, perhaps? Okay, if not, let me share my screen again and close up the session. So thank you very much, Arman, for your presentation. Excellent. It was lovely to hear the story in your words, and see some of my words played back to me. So that was really nice. Thank you very, very much. What I wanted to do in the last couple of minutes is just highlight something for you, because I found it interesting, and you may also. So I came across a new program at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign in the US. It's a Master of Fine Art, and the title of the program is Design for Responsible Innovation. And it's quite innovative and interesting, and I think it relates quite strongly to the work of this action and this work group. So do go to their webpage and have a look, because you might find it interesting. I'm having a meeting with one of their lead academics next week, and we'll see if they'll take up my invitation to be one of our seminar speakers. The program is based on research that's reported in this article. And again, you may be interested in accessing this article and having a read of it. And one of the things that I think is particularly interesting, and it relates very strongly to the presentation that I gave, I think, in the first seminar, Design for Complex Situations, Navigating Matters of Concern, is that they are also building a pedagogic model relating matters of concern through design practices to engage with social issues, and they have this quite interesting tool on their webpage that you can kind of play around with, and the paper reports on its use in a bit more detail. And again, I think it's quite interesting to think about how kind of different sort of societal concerns mapped to particular issues are related or could be investigated through traditional research traditions and enhanced through particular design modes and methods. And I think that the interrelationship or possible interrelationships between these things become quite fascinating. And I think this moves us on in the way that my own research is trying to, in moving beyond this narrative of design simply as a problem-solving tool. It can play a role as a problem-solving tool, but moving beyond that to think about how design can be integrated with other disciplines and other change makers to contribute new narratives through its creative activities around pressing matters of concern. So I found this quite fascinating and wanted to draw your attention to it. And that really brings us to the end of this seminar. So again, thank you, Arman, for your talk. There was lots of ways that I introduced that you could get involved. Most of them revolve around getting in touch with me, so do feel free to send me a message, drop me a line. The next seminar is set up for March the 19th. We've got a speaker lined up already who's going to speak about technology-led innovation and also innovation for extreme environments. It's one of the members of our Cost Action, and it's going to be a fascinating talk. So stick a reminder in your diary for this one next month. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording and